Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Make sure you subscribe for more pop culture videos. Today I want to talk all about season 26 of South Park. Into its 26th season now and showing no signs of slowing down in its cultural and social satire. And episode 2 might be one of my favorites yet, where South Park tackles the ongoing drama of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. And if you're not familiar, South Park is renowned for its 6-day turnaround. It takes them 6 days to produce an episode, which always allows them to respond to the most current, pressing social issue of the time, and often leading some really poignant social discourse around a lot of these issues, and it's no different in this week's episode. I think what I love most about Trey Parker and Matt Stone is they're not particularly political in the sense that they don't lean towards one side of politics. They're very centrist in their perspective, and they definitely just like to call out BS where they see it. And I think this rational and reasonable approach to society and social issues and cultural issues is what makes their show so easy to digest and also just appealing for rational-minded thinkers. In this episode, we see Kyle and his brother Ike becoming obsessed with the Canadian prince and his wife, who are obviously stand-ins for Meghan and Harry. And we see this prince and his wife doing all the things that Meghan and Harry are doing, whether that's going on talk shows, writing a book exposing the royal family, and just making as much noise as possible while asking for privacy and asking people to stop focusing on them and paying attention to them. This is expertly satired through them going on these talk shows, holding up placards saying, "We want privacy, leave us alone."
We want privacy! We want privacy!
And I do think there is an irony to Harry and Meghan's approach to this. Not only are they asking for privacy and saying that they just want to live these normal lives, we don't want to be in the spotlight, we don't want the media hounding us, but they are also going out there, literally making headlines, going on talk shows, going on Oprah, going on Ellen, going on all these different shows, complaining, talking about their problems, talking about what's irking them, making a point of making headlines and feeding this media frenzy around them. Of course, Kyle and Ike's obsession, while everyone else around them at school just does not care, is so reflective of our current obsession with this 24-hour news cycle, always looking for headlines, things like the Daily Mail, things like tabloid magazines just spreading rumors, spreading gossip, and etc. And yeah, Kyle and Ike are really stand-ins for this kind of frenzy.
The prince plays drums all day. I don't even think he has a job. And I don't know what the hell she does.
Dude, we're just kind of sick of hearing about them.
I'm sick of hearing about them, but I can't get away from them. They're everywhere!
Kyle can't actually just go online and play video games with his friends because Ike is always on the computer watching the coverage of the Queen dying. 4 months after the Queen has died, he's still upset about it. So Ike really steps in for this role of the royalist and I guess the old school British public who are obsessed with the royal family and see it as a personal tragedy that the Queen has died. Harry and Meghan, in their plight to have a private life away from all the media, decide to move to South Park across the road from Kyle's house. And in these moments, you see Harry and Meghan just, again, wanting this private life, leave us alone, while actually provoking more situations for people to pay attention to them and see them. Particularly with Prince Harry playing the drums outside his house, essentially a stand-in for Harry in real life, just making as much noise and commotion as possible. One of the talk show hosts actually asked him why he wrote a book exposing the lies and the truths of the royal family when he hates the journalists that are doing that all the time, and they don't really have a solid answer.
So you hate journalists? That's right. And now you wrote a book that reports on the lives of the royal family. Right. So you're a journalist. We just want to be normal people. All this attention is so hard.
I think the drum analogy was one of my favorite things about this episode because it really suggested that Harry and Meghan are just making as much noise as possible. You also get the talk show host probing them about their life of privilege, particularly Harry's in the royal family, getting everything they want, having lots and lots of money. And I think the satire here is really interesting. Of course, South Park is a very modest middle class kind of town, and juxtaposing them next to each other is really, really poignant satire.
So let me start with you, Sam. You've lived a life with the royal family, you've had everything handed to you, but you say your life has been hard, and now you've written all about it in your new book, Wah.
I think a lot of middle class normal people get really upset, frustrated and annoyed with Harry and Meghan because they really do think that if you had that much money, you shouldn't be complaining about these problems so much. A lot of middle class and working class people, a lot of their problems come from money, particularly the working class. The working class spend their day to day just trying to make enough money to get by for the next week. That is what their whole life revolves around. And if they had as much money as Meghan and Harry, all of their problems go away. At least that's how they perceive it. So a lot of these people who don't have as much money as Meghan and Harry, and let's be honest, who does, they see it as this grandstanding and this super annoying privileged position to be amongst some of the richest people in the world, but just whinging and complaining about your problems all the time. And I think this is one of two messages or satirical points that Matt and Trey are trying to get through here, that to the average everyday person, all of this nonsense from Harry and Meghan and the royal family is just absolutely unnecessary, stupid, hypocritical, pointless, because most people would kill to have that kind of money, and most people think all of their problems would be solved with that kind of money. Pointing out that privilege is important. Now, I don't deny that having lots of money doesn't mean that you don't have issues with your mental health and you don't struggle with things day to day. I don't deny that at all. And I don't deny Harry and Meghan's perspective. I have been reading Harry's book, and I think a lot of the things that journalists and the media have done are quite horrible. But I do also appreciate the second point of satire that Trey and Matt are making in this episode of South Park, which is that if they do want privacy, and if they do want to just lead normal lives out of the spotlight and raise their children and be happy, well, they have the money and they have the resources to do that. So why are they continually feeding this fire of media frenzy around them? It is always them going on the talk shows, exposing Prince Charles and Prince William and the Queen and the whole royal enterprise. And I don't blame them in a way, because I do think the royal family is seriously problematic, and it doesn't surprise me that they would want to get out of it after the way they've been treated. But I do think their best option now is to just stay quiet and out of the spotlight. I think publishing the book might need to be the final thing, Harry, if you do happen to be watching this, because as South Park points out, making as much noise as possible and making as many accusations as possible and putting as much information out there as possible does not do you any favors in your aspiration to live a normal life. I think this episode really solidified again South Park's position doing this incredible cultural critique of the time. Of course, episode 1 was around the Kanye West controversy, and I would love to see a few more cultural pinnacle points in this season. I think they could do a really good episode on the J.K. Rowling Hogwarts Legacy controversy. I also think they might do an episode that features Joe Biden, the current president, in some way. I love the satire that we're looking at here. I think in terms of political, social, and cultural satire, there is no match on television aside from South Park, and last season as well was phenomenal, particularly the Tolkien token episode. If you know it, you know it. But let me know what you thought of this episode of South Park. Let me know if you want me to do one on next week's episode of South Park in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to my channel for very frequent pop culture analysis videos like this one, and I will see you in the next vid. See you later.